and welcome to this week's episode of the UHSussex Preceptorship podcast. My name is Harry.
I'm Gemma.
And we're your hosts.
So this week we've got quite a busy episode. We've got lots of lovely people with us. We are going to meet some of our colleagues that are not nurses and from sort of around the trust are allied health professionals.
Hello.
Yeah, get your teeth
in.
Yeah. So also sort of referred to sometimes as AHPs, which is what we'll probably say sort of moving forward just because it's a bit easier. So we've got Zoe and Sam with us who are lead on our Preceptorship programme. Guys, are you happy to just share with us a little bit about what we mean when we're saying AHPs, allied health professionals, who that includes?
So I'm Zoe and clinical lead for AHP education along with my colleague Ruth, and we cover preceptorship across the whole of UHSussex. And on that programme we have lots of different AHPs, physiotherapists, occupational therapists, dietitians, speech and language therapists, operating department practitioners are in there. We've got diagnostic radiographers, therapeutic radiographers, orthoptists, and I think that's everyone.
Yeah.
There are not that many. There are lots. We've got, I think there's 8 on our programme, so employed within our trust. And then, but actually there's kind of 14 or 15 AHP professions in total, but they're not all employed within this trust. So we take anyone who's here. Almost, although healthcare scientists, there's a big group of healthcare scientists that don't. Yeah.
Brilliant. Perfect. You never realise just how many different professions there are across the NHS, do you?
No, it's been really interesting getting to know different sides of preceptorship because I thought we're just in a little nursing hole, aren't we?
Yeah.
And it's been great.
But we're not. And Sam, you're responsible for sort of recruitment internationally. Was that how our allied health professionals
Guilty, yes. So I'm Sam, I'm the lead practice educator for international recruitment, and I do multi-professional international recruitment, so that's our lovely AHPs, and also now working with our healthcare sciences as well as international medical graduates, so our doctors are coming over as well. So little group of people. But no, it's really rewarding. I mean, preceptorship is key for all of our new international staff. It's not about newly qualified, it's newly registered. So it's making sure that, I let Zoe and the team know about, we've got these new starters coming, we've got these coming in, can they be added into the preceptorship programme just so they don't miss out. Preceptorship I love because it's a lot of things that you can't find on Google, a lot of things that you can't experience just by going, what do we learn about this, what can I do about this? It's really key.
Good wealth of local knowledge.
Indeed.
And it's great how you guys obviously work really closely together, like you say.
Well, I mean, I'm a nurse by profession as well, so I mean, to be part of the AHP team, I've got my honorary AHP badge. And it's great to learn by process as well as actually listening to the guys when they have their preceptorship days as well. So yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And you've brought with us some guests. So we've got 2 allied health professions, 4 preceptees or former preceptees with us. Callie, if you start, introduce yourself, what you do, and sort of where you are on your preceptorship journey.
Yeah, so my name's Callie, I'm a physiotherapist. I'm a rotational physio, so every 4 months I rotate to a different department. I did the preceptorship course, I started I think in September last year, and then recently finished in July, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
And it's honestly been a really, really great programme, loved it lots.
Brilliant, thank you.
So I'm Emily, I'm a specialist renal dietitian at the moment, and I think we started the preceptorship in October 2022.
Yeah.
Finished quite a long time ago, I can't remember exact month we finished, but it's been a year since we finished it, so yeah.
My name's Danielle, one of the band 6 dietitians. I work in the stroke ward and neuromedical ward, and I graduated with Emily, so I think I can't remember the exact date, but I graduated last year. Started the preceptorship programme as a band 5, and I just started at the hospital in 2022 at some point. So
Thank you.
So my name's Craig. I'm a physiotherapist as well, junior rotational physio like Callie. Started at the same time, finished at the same time. But yeah, it was a really good journey. Learned lots through it. So yeah, really pleased to have that opportunity.
Did you guys train together as well? Did you
No.
We didn't have that pleasure.
So you just met on Preceptorship?
Yeah.
That's nice. A lot of people say that's one of the biggest, certainly in nursing, that's one of the biggest benefits is having someone.
No, definitely. Like the amount of different people I've met through Preceptorship, from OTs, like radiographers, is so valuable. You might be working with them, like I said, I go to different departments. So like I'm like, oh, I know you from somewhere, Preceptorship. You know, it's so great to like have just someone, like a familiar face when you start in a new department is really helpful. And then even just like passing in the corridors, might not even like them, just like a familiar face. Give me a hug. Yeah, it's just really nice. Like people who I probably wouldn't have like spoken to before. It's really good to like have that opportunity to meet them. You just never know who you might come across, I guess. Yeah.
Brilliant. And have you found sort of how the feelings of being newly registered have been quite similar?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I remember our first few sessions when we started, I felt it was like more of a therapy session than anything else. Just like I think you don't realise the stress till you actually like kind of talk about it, and like it was really like comforting to hear that other people like face similar things to me, like initially, like even if it wasn't a big thing, just like feeling quite overwhelmed in general, and like as I said, I didn't realise it was a thing to actually talk about it with other people, and it was really comforting to hear that other people felt the same way.
I think we get similar themes, don't we? Definitely.
It's just good to share the same experience when you are on the wards or different areas of people who have more experience and less experience, and you're kind of like, but when you meet up with the Preceptorship people, it's great because you're like, you're not alone, are you? And you're like, you think someone else is feeling the same. So it's so good. Validation.
Yeah, definitely.
It's nice as well to feel that like across the specialities as well. Like it's not just newly starting dietitians that are feeling really nervous, etc. It's like, PTs and everyone else, like, everyone else is feeling, we're in vastly different professions, but we're all feeling the same level, same anxieties and things about starting.
And I think a lot of the experiences you have are relatable across the board as well. It might not be exactly the same. You go, I had something similar to that. This occurred, and then being able to share the experiences of what someone else might have done to overcome that. It's really beneficial.
I think it opens it up as well. It's like there's people behind the profession. It's not just the profession. I think we're all guilty of doing it sometimes. It's like, stick with that physio group, stick with that dietitian, or nursing, or whatever. But when you go to a preceptorship session, you see that those barriers completely blocked down, and it's great to see everyone interacting with each other and helping each other out, like you say, regardless of profession.
And it is really nice because we've got really lovely stories of, say, a preceptee dietitian being on the ward and spotting a physio who they know from preceptorship and saying, could you, when you're hoisting that patient out, could you just weigh them on the way out, and feeling that maybe they might not have felt they could ask someone if we didn't know them, but just making those links has been it's actually great for the patient as well.
With sort of that in mind, Zoe, would you mind sharing sort of what the preceptorship model, what the study days kind of entail, what they look like?
So we have 9. Actually, it's been modified since Danielle and Emily started. But we now have 9 half-day study days, and we're obviously, because we're a group of allied health professions with very different specialisms. We're not clinical. We don't learn clinical stuff, but we learn all the stuff that impacts on our ability to do our clinical job well. So things like communication skills, quality improvement, how to I'm trying to think of all the different ones.
You've got all the pillars of practice that you shape on, and then
leadership, leadership behaviours, really important. How we interact with each other and how we kind of understand that people work in different ways. Safety, risk management, risk assessment. So lots of different aspects that then feed into clinical practice.
It's almost like all those things that link to human factors, isn't it? That makes you make the decisions you make and think about thinking and stuff.
And also, it's really important, so allied health professionals, very distinct professions, and historically we've kind of stood alone in our single professions and don't have a very loud voice at a kind of higher level within organisations. But what this does is bring AHPs together and gives them a louder voice as they move through the organisation, which I think is really important in an organisation that is, historically been very nurse and doctor heavy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're the third largest workforce in the organisation, and together we have that louder voice.
Definitely.
I think when you first come in to a completely new job, like obviously we have like a degree where we learn everything about what we do, but sometimes, I wouldn't necessarily know what an OT would be doing. Like, so actually these sessions, just talking about, like you said, like the different struggles that you're going through on the ward, for example, and you're thinking, oh, that's interesting, I didn't know an OT did that. And so it sort of helps build that basic understanding of each other's roles within the sessions as well.
It's also like respect, isn't it? Because if you know knowledge about another job, you can respect that
Yeah,
job
exactly.
a bit more, and be like, oh, okay, they do that, and I do this, and this is how we can work together.
I think that there's a lot more consideration when I'm going about my clinical business as to thinking about other professions. I'll be doing something going, oh, actually, I need to check that, because that will be really useful to feedback if I know such and such about a patient, that I can actually feed back to other specialities.
You can tell the next preceptees and the next preceptees.
Is your preceptorship time protected?
Currently, preceptorship isn't mandated for AHPs, but we're working towards that. I think actually most of the professions are generally really good at protecting that time. They recognise the value of it. So generally people are able to get away.
I think as well with that time out is when you kind of move to a new place, country, city, whatever, it's just having that's probably one of the biggest challenges I think for us, is like just going somewhere completely new and not really knowing anyone, and actually building those connections within work and within a kind of semi-protected time, it's like just having that opportunity to slow down and kind of gather yourself when you might have just moved countries, jobs, houses, and it's like everything all at once. So it's nice to just have a breather where you can kind of reconnect and gather your thoughts almost.
Yeah, I found it very helpful because I studied in South Africa and worked in South Africa, and then came over in 2022. So I started the Preceptorship program as a new Band 5 here, but had worked in South Africa as a dietitian before. And even though the clinical work is the same, I found the Preceptorship program covered the human side of things, and just everything else. We had an ethical module, and that was so helpful because it's completely different. Comparing South Africa and the UK, everything is different. The policies, the patient caseload, the like you said, the hierarchy that we're used to in your home country, and then also just dealing with everything personally, trying to find a house and trying to find a grocery store and a bank, all the things you don't think of. I really wish you were here, Sam, when I started.
I feel bad there, you've missed out.
I definitely missed out, but it's so helpful because we've got a new Band 5 as well that's international, and the first thing I said to her was have you signed up for preceptorship? It was just a really really helpful, supportive thing to have in place, and everyone's mentioned, just having that sort of go to that's not clinical time and you're not in the ward, you can just breathe once a month. It was really, really helpful.
And reflect, I think. Some of
So
all that stuff that happens during your working day, and then you go home and you're on to the next thing. Sometimes just being able to reflect is helpful, isn't it?
We do ask on our nursing preceptorship about not case study, but we ask about experiences on the ward, and it's often quite nice that they can get that out with us instead of going home and doing it to their partner or other, which I'm sure they're
keeping it inside
fine
as well.
to listen to, but it's nice, and they do, and it's nice because we're all in the same sort of discipline, so it
that's
we
something
can
I
relate to
found
each other.
really beneficial, as I said.
Get it out.
So, just sort of thinking about the new allied health professionals coming in, what would be one bit of advice that you shared there was sign up for preceptorship.
We like that one.
Is there any other advice that you guys would give to new physios, new dietitians, or any allied health professional?
I'd probably say just don't be afraid to ask people questions. These guys will say I love asking questions, but that's the only way you find out more. And don't be afraid to talk to people, because everyone was in your position once, and don't it seems scary when I don't know, doctors are writing all their notes. Just go up to them, ask the questions, because it helps the patients in general feel well informed. So don't be afraid to go up to people and ask them.
I'd say as well, just knowing that you don't have to be a specialist in everything on day one. I think I remember having we had a staff meeting, I think it was on my first day, and everyone was talking about kind of like really complex issues in the meeting, as you do. And I was just there like, I will never ever learn any of this. And like now I know, even 2 months in, you're like, oh, okay, I get the hang. But I was just like, I can never do this, and like, it was just poor timing really, but I was just like, I can never do this, and I will never know everything that I need to know. And then you just learn gradually. And I think it's just like letting people know that in your first few days, you will not know everything about everything, and that is absolutely fine. It's a slow learning process. And I think that's quite reflected in kind of preceptorship because you're all starting so fresh and you're all a bit like, I don't think I know enough to do this. And then you reflect. And as the sessions go on, you go, oh, actually, I do. So I think just don't panic and things will come.
Yeah, time is so
powerful,
isn't it? So,
I'd probably say healthy work-life balance from the start.
Brilliant.
I think we chatted about it in preceptorship, and it's quite fun to go around and say like, how does everyone like to kind of shut down from work and just not take work home with you? And I think Zoe added healthy ways. Let's talk about healthy ways. Healthy ways of doing that. Yeah, because everyone's sort of talking about it's pub and everything. But just like keeping that in mind from the start and time managing well as well, so that when you go home, you don't take work home with you. Because I think as health workers and as allied health workers, we get really involved with our patients. I know everyone does, but we do tend to see especially the food and nutrition side of things, and you get the emotional side of the patients and get very involved with family members. So just not taking work home with you and knowing how to do that from the beginning. Yeah.
I think being open-minded from the start. I think it was a great opportunity. And I think as we went along each time, I'd look at mostly the heading of what we were going in for, and I'd look at it, and some of them you look at and go, hey, that just doesn't sound like it's going to be the most thrilling afternoon. then you get there and it's like, no, that's not what I expected. And it's just being open-minded about, it's not necessarily the subject.
Thank you guys so much for your time today. Really, really appreciated your honesty and your candour, and just for us learning a bit.
Blown away.
Yeah, blown away.
Yeah, I know it all now. Thank you.
We might just turn up at the next preceptorship.
Well, you're always welcome, and we do have conversations about seeing. So once AHP preceptorship is established, where are the link ups? Where can we join with the nurses to increase our?
I think would it be worth doing one preceptorship session with the nurses?
Yeah,
maybe
it would be
time.
lovely. There is ambition there.
I think that'd be good just to find out more what you guys.
A crossover.
Well, we've started sharing up. We've had a meeting with all the preceptorship leads for all midwives, paediatrics, and allied health professionals as well, which I think is going to only benefit all our newly registered professionals across the whole UHSussex.
Our healthcare sciences are looking at trying to implement it now as well, isn't it? There's a trial ongoing at the moment.
We've got one healthcare scientist coming into our next preceptorship program. It's got to start somewhere.
But this is the thing. I mean, I attended a conference on Monday, and that was a big thing about what is preceptorship should be included in just other professions rather than just nurses and AHPs. So he's getting in there. So
I think it should be all professions. When we've finished, everyone will know what preceptorship is.
Everyone will know. Literally everyone.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Cool. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys on our next episode.
Bye.